Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something really interesting, the secret journey of our water. You know, it's safar, right after we use it. Let's dive in. Seriously, have you ever stopped to think about it? Every day when you're washing your hands or taking a shower, that water goes down the drain, and then what? Where does it go? It feels like it just disappears, right? Well, that's the mystery we're going to solve today. So anytime we use water, whether it's at home, in a factory, anywhere, it becomes something called wastewater. It's basically water that we've made dirty. You know that soapy, sometimes oily, dark-colored water that goes down the sink? Yep, that's wastewater. Okay, so if we're going to learn how to clean this water, we first have to figure out what's actually in it. What are all the things that make it so dirty in the first place? Let's take a look. This wastewater, coming from all over the place, our houses, hospitals, industries, it has a technical name. It's called sewage. And while it's mostly water, it's really a complex mixture, a kind of liquid waste with all sorts of stuff dissolved in it. So let's see what these ingredients of sewage actually are. You've got organic stuff like human waste and leftover food. Then there are inorganic things like metals and chemicals. And this is the really important part. It's full of nutrients and some pretty dangerous bacteria and microbes that can make people very sick with diseases like cholera and typhoid. You see, this is exactly why we can't just let it flow back into our rivers. All right, so we know it's in the water. Now, where does it all go? Well, it's time for an adventure, a secret journey that happens right under our feet, through a hidden system of pipes, taking it to a very special destination. Think about it. Right under the ground we walk on, there's a huge network of pipes. They're called sewers. And this whole network, this whole system, is called the sewerage. It's like an underground highway system designed for one thing, and one thing only, to carry all that wastewater away from our homes and safely to the place where it gets cleaned. And here we are. We've arrived at the most crucial part of the entire journey. This is where the magic happens, where the dirty water gets a complete makeover. Welcome to the Wastewater Treatment Plant, or WWTP for short. Okay, so getting this water clean isn't a one-step thing. It's a whole process, like a series of checkpoints. First, they screen out the big stuff. Then they get rid of sand. Next, they separate out the solids. After that, they bring in some helpful bacteria. And for the grand finale, they disinfect it. Let's break down each of these steps. So step one. The first thing that happens is the wastewater has to pass through what is basically a giant sieve. You could call it a chulney. These are called bar screens, and their job is super simple. Catch all the big pieces of trash floating in the water. And wow, it's actually incredible what these screens catch. We're talking plastic bags, old clothes, sticks, cans, you name it. And this is all just at the very beginning. All of this garbage is stopped before the real cleaning can even start. Okay, on to step two. After passing the big screens, the water goes into a special tank. And the whole idea here is to just slow it down. Why? Well, think about a slow-moving river. What happens? All the heavy stuff, like sand and tiny pebbles, naturally sinks to the bottom. It's the same principle here. And this is a grit and sand removal tank. By making the water flow much, much slower, they let gravity do all the work. All that heavy grit and sand just settles right down to the bottom. All right, step three. Now the water goes into a really big tank called a clarifier. The water is allowed to just sit there, very still. This allows all the solid waste to sink down and settle at the bottom. That gunk at the bottom, it has a name, sludge. At the same time, any oil or grease floats to the top and they can just skim it right off. Here's a look at one of those clarifier tanks. They are huge. And you can see how calm the water is. It's this quiet, settling process that separates the solids from the liquid. The water that's left after this step is much cleaner, and it's now called clarified water. Okay, now for my favorite part, the bacteria buffet. In this step, air is pumped into the clarified water. This helps special, good bacteria to grow. These are our little helpers. They then go to town, eating up all the remaining tiny bits of waste, soap, and other things still left in the water. And all that bubbling you see is the air being pumped in. This process is called aeration. It's like they're giving our little microbe friends a big boost of oxygen so they can do their cleaning job even better. So you might be wondering, what happens to all that sludge that was collected earlier? Well, it doesn't get wasted. It's treated in a separate tank to produce something called biogas, which can be used as fuel. And what's left after that is dried and can be used as manure for farming. See, nothing goes to waste, which is pretty amazing.
And we're at the finish line. The water is almost clean, but there's one last crucial step. It gets disinfected. They add chemicals, usually chlorine or ozone, to kill off any last harmful germs that might be hanging around. Once that's done, the water is finally clean and safe enough to be released back into nature, into a river or the sea. Its journey is complete. So that's the water story. But wait, the story isn't actually over. Because now it's about our role, you and me. We have a really important part to play in all of this.
So how can we help? It's all about what we do at home. 3 simple rules. 1, don't ever pour cooking oil or fats down the sink. They cool down and can completely block the pipes. 2, no chemicals. Things like paint or medicines will kill those helpful bacteria we need at the treatment plant. And 3, don't flush solid stuff, tea leaves, cotton, anything like that. They just choke the drains. Really, it boils down to this simple choice right here. Look, solid waste goes in the dustbin, not the sink. It's that easy. Just doing this one thing makes a huge difference for the entire system and helps protect our environment.
I want to leave you with this powerful thought from Mahatma Gandhi. He said, "We don't need to wait for someone else to do the right thing." What does that mean for us? It means you, yes, you, can be a leader. You can be an agent of change. By following these simple habits, you're not just helping your own home, you're helping our entire community, our rivers, our country. Your small actions really do add up to make a very, very big difference. Thank you so much for joining me today.